Alright, what's going on, Vacant Nation? I'm your host, FG, and welcome back to another episode of Celeste. Last we left off, we found ourselves dreaming by a campfire, and illusions of the mountain manifested into essentially an evil version of ourselves, Battleline. And along the way, not only did we find out that dreams can become reality, but it looks like we're dealing with some problems of our own. Nonetheless, we will continue the climb. And up next is a very interesting chapter. One that has one unique character that really stands out amongst the rest. Up next is Chapter 3, The Celeste Resort. Let's hop right in. To Madeline, a postcard from Celeste Mountain. Be proud of your death count. The more you die, the more you're learning. Keep going. Interesting point though, because honestly, in my opinion, if you die enough, eventually you find that you don't even want to keep playing anymore. It's the art of rage quitting. But anyways, so as we continue through the chapter, one of the main gimmicks is this dark matter. I don't know what it is. You may or may not know what it is. The only thing I do know, don't touch the dark matter. Anyways though, I did bring this up a little bit in the last chapter, but if there's one thing the developers wanted everyone to know, it's how to make and break their own physics system. So with the strawberry up here, there's no way to get through normal means. However, there is a way to grab it. See, when Madeline uses her midair dash, when you go screen to screen, it actually replenishes, which means you essentially have an unlimited dash when you're going left and right. And we're going to be using it later on when it comes to the B-sides for one particular grab. But it's worth knowing that even the creators knew about the constraints of the physics and the controls, and they even utilized it in their game design. The average player may not figure it out, but it's very amusing that there's these small little details. Alright, but anyways, we made it inside the hotel, and looks like please ring for service. So, I think it's a good time to check in. So that in mind, let's summon the spirit of hospitality, Mr. Oshiro. Alright, Mr. Oshiro is a very interesting character, and we'll talk about it as we continue with the chapter, but first things first, it appears to be a very old and dusty guest book. Many of the pages are damaged or missing. The comments, however, are glowing. We'll never forget our time here. I've never felt more at peace. Thank you. And first impressions, the Celeste Resort seems that it's been here for many years. As a matter of fact, it's even in quite the state of decay. Think about it. Broken glass, cobwebs, ooh, touch the dark matter. And even all this laundry, clothing, and all this stuff just scattered amongst everything. This clearly is no place to be living right now. And Mr. Oshiro, being a ghost, doesn't seem to realize this. And I wonder why he stuck around this long. It's a mystery, but I'm sure we'll find out what it is. So anyways, we have two main gimmicks with the hotel, and a third one coming up later on in the stage. But the biggest one is the dark matter. As you've seen already, one touch is all it takes to take out Madeline, so make sure at all costs you do not touch the dark matter. We'll be seeing plenty of it as we continue through the stages. And there's two different versions. Of course, we have these floating ones and the ones that are piled up, but then there's ones that also cling onto the walls. As long as you stay in place, it won't do anything. However, once you go back, you're not able to return, because they essentially pick up where you left off. Which means you can't exactly go the same place twice. Like, for example, I just missed a secret up there because I decided to continue. But let's continue with Mr. Oshiro. So there seems to be two sides to Mr. Oshiro. In some ways, it's kind of like Madeline. One side's basically like self-collected, trying to really stick with the time itself, even if that time may be stuck in the past. And the other side is the self-anxious side that really seems like that he realizes these things are wrong, but at the same time he really is trying here. The problem with Mr. Oshiro is he doesn't realize what's going on around him. The fact that he's been dead for a very long time. Madeline and the other guests don't really want to stick around, despite his intentions. After all, we're trying to climb a mountain. We're not trying to stay at a resort. Even if this was once one of the greatest resorts on Celeste Mountain, it seems time itself has definitely caught on. But that's not going to stop Mr. Oshiro. He seems really hesitant and really wants us to stay here on the mountain. And in some ways, I guess that's what you'd expect out of a concierge. After all, the business is having people stay at the resort. But it comes to a point where it almost seems like very pressuring. To a point where I would almost compare him to, like, say, like a car dealer. You ever go to, like, try to buy a car? I guess this only applies to certain audience members. But you know, like how they're so persistent on trying to make the deal, but you don't want to buy a car, or more or less it's just not in your range. And it really gets under your skin. That's the situation here. Madeline's just trying to climb the mountain, but Mr. Oshiro is very hesitant and very much wants her to stay in the presidential suite. And that's just it, not a regular room, the presidential suite. One of the most costly places you could stay in a resort. Don't get me wrong, those places are amazing. But I don't even have that kind of money to stay in a place like that. But anyways, there's a lot more climbing with this chapter. We're going to try this one more time because I am failing horribly. So if you're not used to the climb mechanics yet, you're not going to have a very good time here. Wait. Oh, what am I doing? I already got the strawberry. I've been too busy talking. My bad, folks. My bad. Let's just keep going. But yeah, at this point, make sure you are able to utilize the climb ability to its fullest potential. Is there a secret here? There's a secret. Yep. Oh, dark matter. Alright, careful now. It's only gonna get harder from here on out, so really do make sure you have a feel for the controls. So I mentioned that the dark matter is one of the abilities, both on the ground and blobbed up in its, I'll call it the discrete form. But the other gimmick, as we saw before, was also the platforms, that when I stand on them, they slowly move down. Now, if I crouch down, I can actually make it go a lot faster. And that definitely comes in handy if you're out for speedrunning. Me, though, I'm trying to take this more casually, so I much prefer the extra time that it takes to move down. So as you may have noticed already, Mr. Oshiro is all the way ahead, and we're trying to play keep up a little bit. But he is a ghost, little as he realized. But hey, we caught up. See, part of him realizes that it's really getting to our nerves in some way. Not really Madeline, she's just trying to take it as it is. Though, that's probably gonna explode later on, as we've seen with the other side of us, Madeline. But you could definitely tell that this is starting to really get to her in a bit. She's just trying to find a way through. But anyways, this next area looks like a very big mess. Very big mess. I don't know if you saw that emote there, how he just slowly opened his eye. He knows things that we don't. He knows. Alright, the next phase of Chapter 3 is Scattered and Lost. Now this one we have 3 different areas to go through. It doesn't matter which one you choose first, but I like to go up first. And the idea is, in order to clean the big area we were just in, we have to make it to the end of these sub-areas and try to clear all the laundry by hitting a switch. And I want to point out right now, this is one of my favorite tracks in the game right now. But first things first, you probably see that pulsing heart down there. Don't worry, we'll talk about it later. We'll definitely be talking about those. But anyways, so it's worth mentioning here now that the music of Celeste was created by Lena Raine. And she did the entire soundtrack, with the exception of the B-sides, of course. And honestly, this is probably one of the best soundtracks of any games of not only 2018, but in a very long time. I can't say how many times when this came out that I would be listening to it in my free time, or even just driving to my commute. There's a lot of good tracks. I already mentioned before that my favorite part of the game was Resurrections, and I love the music of that part. And the same goes for Scattered and Lost. Not to mention some more songs coming up soon. Another one of my favorites is Little Goth. But yeah, the music is honestly really great. And if you ever find free time, try streaming a little bit on Spotify, YouTube, anything that really supports the creators. Me personally, I actually have it on vinyl, that I got it with the limited run release, so it's kind of that exclusive variant. But just to be able to listen to my free time, the soundtrack's great. Alright, continuing forward. So up next we're gonna take the lower route. It's funny seeing how there's like the two sides of Oshiro, and even Madeline realizes this. You're pathetic! The way she's staring at him, it's that's great. Alright, but anyways, so we're continuing forward, and we're already clearing some of the clutter, so it's doing pretty good right about now. So let's keep it going. I do like some of the ideals that Mr. Oshiro has. The fact that he really wants the resort to live in the hearts of those who visit the place really shows a sense of, I guess, immortality in some sense. In some ways, it kind of lives his ideals that he's kind of this spirit that's been wiring the resort for years, possibly even a century. And really, I think that's the goal for anyone, really, to be remembered, and to make people remember the good parts of it all. I'm sure at one point that Celeste Resort was a great place, but I can't speak for the current state right now. Everything's just in a state of decay. Think about it. All the cobwebs, all this dark matter, the broken glass. I don't think this is in any state right now for anyone to live in. As a matter of fact, I think it would probably get closed down through, like, what is it, OSHA or whatever regulations. Alright, we're gonna keep going, though. We got still some more strawberries to collect. And with the dark matter on the ground, it's important that you make sure you watch where you're jumping. And more importantly, if you're considering backtracking, especially, try to make sure that you have enough space on the way back. That's why I lost the life there, because I wasn't focused. But here we go, switch number 2. All the clutters are turning back where it should be. We're doing good. We're doing good. Alright, so let's go speak to Oshiro one more time before we continue forward. Where are you? There you are. Oh my gosh, I just love like the witty comebacks. See, like I said, even Madeline's getting fed up right now. Even she's becoming annoyed by Mr. Oshiro, despite her intentions of trying to help him. But anyways, looks like we found the other patron. Alright, take Theo's words with a grain of salt. He may be onto something. And really consider this, but I'll talk more about it in the next part. There are just some people that can't be saved, no matter how hard you try. It's sad, but it's the reality. More on that in the next part. Anyways though, this chapter is ideally longer than the other chapters, so with that in mind, we're going to be splitting this into a second part. So stay tuned for the remainder of Chapter 3 in the next episode. And if you like this episode, be sure to leave a like and comment down below. And as always, I'll see you in the next video. But Retro, they don't want to do this. They don't want to watch another part. They barely want to watch this episode.